today, historians have long written about the possibility she had a relationship with President John F. Kennedy. Nita Nair looks at a new book which claims Monroe actually called First Lady Jackie Kennedy to talk about it.
He says, why don't you leave suburbia for once and come see me? Either here or at the Cape next week or in Boston on the 19th.
In a revealing ebook titled Jack and Jackie, Portrait of an American Marriage, author Christopher Anderson delves into the intricate details of a secret relationship between John F. Kennedy and Audrey Hepburn. According to Anderson, Kennedy was not only enamored by Hepburn's external beauty, but also captivated by her intellect and fun-loving personality. The former president considered her simply exquisite, and their clandestine affair added an extra layer of intensity to their connection.
I understand that the two of you had a very much publicized courtship. How did the two of you meet?
We met at the house of a friend about 2 years ago.
She says the first time they had sex in Mrs. Kennedy's bedroom and thereafter in various White House rooms. But Alford says the president never kissed her on the lips.
Anderson's book, originally published in 1997 and set to be re-released as an e-book with exclusive new material, goes beyond the surface, shedding light on Kennedy's widely publicized infidelity. The former president's affairs included a roster of prominent actresses such as Anita Ekberg, Jean Tierney, Marlene Dietrich, and others, as well as relationships with White House intern Mimi Alford and secretaries.
Mimi Alford describes being seduced by the president just 4 days into her internship. Alford was 19 years old with no sexual experience.
The detailed accounts in the book provide a nuanced understanding of Hepburn's private persona. Mary Gallagher, a White House secretary, vividly recalls Hepburn's entrance into Kennedy's office, describing her as graceful as a swan, carrying a long, slim red umbrella. According to Anderson, Hepburn, who had just won an Oscar for Roman Holiday and was about to start filming Sabrina with Humphrey Bogart, managed to out Jackie with her presentation.
Known to us, while he was alive, but it's come out that he was intimate with other women, apparently.
The book highlights Hepburn's intelligence, her penchant for literature, and her infectious laughter. Anderson paints a picture of a multifaceted Hepburn whose public image as a prim and proper actress belied a hidden, sexy, naughty side that only Kennedy got to experience. Their ability to keep the affair out of the public eye added an element of thrill and intensity to their relationship. Beyond the Hepburn affair, JFK is said to have had a lot of extramarital affairs. Imagine the glamorous scene at President John F. Kennedy's upcoming birthday gala on May 19, 1962. The air was buzzing with anticipation, but it was Hollywood icon Marilyn Monroe who stole the spotlight with her captivating performance at Madison Square Garden. Shedding a luxurious fur coat, Monroe revealed a dazzling, figure-hugging gown adorned with sparkling rhinestones, leaving the audience spellbound. In her sultry yet innocent voice, Monroe serenaded the president with the iconic "Happy Birthday, Mr. President." This performance fueled speculation about a romantic affair between Kennedy and Monroe, a narrative further fueled by Monroe's tragic death a few months later. Tabloid headlines, embellished with falsehoods and altered images, perpetuated the idea of a secret liaison. The allure of imagining a passionate romance between two of the world's most famous and beautiful figures was irresistible. However, delving into the details with historian Donald Spoto's insights from his 1993 book, Marilyn Monroe, The Biography, we find a lack of concrete evidence amid the speculation. Details about potential meetings between Kennedy and Monroe were scarce. Although they both attended the April in Paris ball in 1957, accompanied by their spouses, serious conversations were unlikely. Rumors suggested a dinner party in 1961, hosted by actor Peter Lawford, but no solid proof of Monroe's attendance surfaced. Historians propose that a secret meeting could have occurred on March 24, 1962, at Bing Crosby's villa in Palm Springs. Monroe's close friend Ralph Roberts overheard Kennedy's voice during a phone call that weekend, and actress Susan Strasberg supported the notion in her unpublished memoir, emphasizing Monroe's love for secrecy and drama. If the speculated meeting did happen at Crosby's villa, It could have set the stage for Monroe to sing a birthday song for Kennedy at the gala. Unaware of the implications, Monroe, battling barbiturate addiction and sinusitis during the filming of Something's Gotta Give, flew to New York for the commitment, unknowingly causing disruptions to the film production. Kennedy and Monroe likely didn't cross paths again until the birthday fundraiser. Monroe seamlessly transitioned from Happy Birthday to Thanks for the Memory, a song she had penned specifically for the president. A photograph taken by White House photographer Cecil Stoughton at a lively after-party hosted by film executive Arthur Krim remains the only tangible evidence of their fleeting moment together. While Marilyn Monroe maintained an air of mystery, there was one woman who may have become a bit too entangled with the president: Judith Campbell. A twist of fate in the form of a romantic connection brought Frank Sinatra and JFK together, shaping the course of their lives in ways unforeseen. Sinatra's introduction to Judith Campbell led to a brief romance lasting only a few months. Despite the end of their relationship, they remained friends. In February 1960, Sinatra invited Campbell to his show at the Sands in Las Vegas, unaware that this chance encounter would intertwine her destiny with Senator John F. Kennedy. JFK's well-publicized relationships drew significant attention, particularly labeling Campbell as the mob mall in the media. Concerned about the impact on her family, she later reflected on her mistakes in a 1990s 2020 interview, acknowledging that falling for a married man was her biggest regret. When Campbell first met JFK at Sinatra's show, months before he secured the Democratic primary nod, she was unaware of his marital status. Having been cheated on by her first husband, she had vowed never to put another woman in a similar situation. What began as a friendly chat at the show evolved into a lunch date the next day and calls from the road for a month. By March 1960, the affair became personal at the Plaza Hotel. Despite knowing she was the other woman, Campbell found herself unable to resist Kennedy's charm. One might assume this would be the end of the story, a mere addition to Kennedy's list of affairs. However, fate took a darker turn. President Kennedy and Judith Campbell found themselves in love when she was 26. Initially unaware of Kennedy's marital status, Campbell later discovered his involvement in Chicago's organized crime scene. Introduced to Sam Giancana as Sam Flood by her ex-boyfriend, she had no clue about Giancana's true identity. A month after their initial intimate encounter, Kennedy asked Campbell to deliver a bag of money to Giancana. Despite understanding the nature of the request, she complied without questioning it, driven by love and a desire not to pass judgment. Over the span of a little over 2 years of dating, Campbell transitioned into an intermediary role between the Chicago mob and the Kennedy White House. She organized meetings, facilitated supplies, and potentially arranged rewards for Giancana's assistance in securing West Virginia's vote for Kennedy. Subsequent messages hinted at Kennedy seeking the mob's assistance in dealing with Castro. As their relationship concluded in 1962, Kennedy pressured Campbell to relocate to Washington, D.C. torn between her love for Kennedy and fear of FBI surveillance. He reassured her by claiming Giancana worked for the government. In late 1962, Campbell's revelation of pregnancy marked the end of the affair. Kennedy supported her decision for an abortion, arranged by Giancana in Chicago. After Kennedy's assassination, Campbell faced extreme difficulties, with individuals connected to the affair meeting mysterious fates. Fearing for her safety, she slept with a gun under her pillow and misled Congress. Renaming herself Judith Exner, she gradually opened up about her life over the following decades. Testifying in Congress, she took control of her narrative by breaking the rules of secrecy. As FBI files on Giancana became public and terminal cancer was diagnosed, she revealed shocking details about her relationship with Kennedy and Giancana, unveiling the truth behind closed doors. The unfolding saga of a model, a mob boss, and the potential revelation of a spy adds an unexpected layer to this captivating narrative. Yes, a spy. Inga Arvad. Meet Inga Arvad, the lady who truly put John F. Kennedy at ease, earning herself the affectionate nickname Inga Binga among those who knew the charming president well. A journalist based in 1930s Berlin, Arvad's allure extended beyond the political realm. She even caught the eye of Adolf Hitler, receiving an invitation to the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin, complete with a city-funded luncheon. Her captivating personality transcended politics. In Hollywood gossip circles, male performers couldn't help but rave about her attractiveness, drawing comparisons to their leading ladies. However, Arvad's enchanting persona also captured the attention of FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover for entirely different reasons. Hoover conducted years of inquiry, suspecting the blonde journalist from the Washington Times-Herald of being a Nazi agent infiltrating the highest echelons of the American administration. Scott Ferris's book, Inga, reveals that Arvad's FBI file reached a staggering 1,200 pages, highlighting the intense scrutiny she faced. In an era where women with multiple languages and good looks were viewed with suspicion, this perception persisted even if Arvad was innocent. Despite her lack of involvement with Nazi espionage, the FBI, unaware of the inefficiencies in Germany's spy network, remained steadfast in their pursuit, convinced she held crucial information. Born in Denmark in 1913, Arvad's mother meticulously groomed her to epitomize femininity. Crowned Miss Denmark in 1931, she later moved to New York to enroll at Columbia University's School of Journalism. While in Berlin, she wrote favorable portraits of Hitler and other high-ranking Nazi officers. Despite her innocence, Arvad's actions contributed to the suspicions surrounding her during a time when the true extent of Nazi Germany's spy network remained a mystery. According to Ferris, the connection between Inga Arvad and Adolf Hitler might not seem as shocking when viewed in the context of the mid-1930s. During that time, the full extent of the Holocaust was not widely understood, and Hitler's charisma and influence captivated many. In a display of favor, Hitler even gave Arvad an autographed picture. Arvad's journalistic pursuits included breaking the news of Nazi leader Hermann Göring's engagement to actress Emmy Sonnemann. Her vivid account of Sonnemann's wedding, complete with the Nazi salute, reflected the prevailing tone of the era. Despite rejecting an offer to become a Nazi spy, Arvad left for Copenhagen, Denmark, driven by a sudden realization. In November 1941, while still married to Hungarian film director Paul Fejos in Washington, D.C., Arvad met Jack Kennedy, a 24-year-old Navy ensign, through Kik, Jack's sister. Joseph Kennedy, Jack's father, initially anticipated a brief and mostly physical connection, but it evolved into a genuine commitment. Although marriage was considered, their divergent backgrounds proved insurmountable. Joseph Kennedy's influence in 1942 marked the end of the relationship characterized by charisma and charm. Despite their deep desire for each other, their differing backgrounds thwarted their union. Actor Tim McCoy became Arvad's second husband after her 1942 divorce from Paul Fejos. She raised her two sons in La Canada, California, after obtaining U.S. citizenship. Kennedy's marriage to Jacqueline Bouvier occurred in 1953. Upon his presidential inauguration, Arvad congratulated him via telegraph, but received no response. Ferris recounts Arvad's emotional reaction to John F. Kennedy's assassination in November 1963, describing how she quietly left her chair, went to her bedroom, and sobbed for hours. While Arvad mourned, the next woman in our story had no such reason to shed tears. Mimi Alford. Mimi Alford, a 19-year-old White House intern, spilled jaw-dropping details about her alleged affair with President John F. Kennedy in her revealing memoir, Once Upon a Secret, My Affair with President John F. Kennedy. According to Alford, the affair began when JFK took her virginity following a poolside setup orchestrated by his friend Dave Powers, who reportedly provided Alford with multiple daiquiris. The explicit encounter unfolded within the hallowed halls of the White House, with vivid descriptions, including Kennedy keeping his shirt on. Alford asserts that their intimate escapades didn't just occur in Jackie Kennedy's bedroom, but were predominantly situated in JFK's own sleeping quarters. The affair thrived in secrecy, marked by clandestine nighttime calls and covert arrangements. She recalls JFK's peculiar fascination with her past, seeking naughty stories from her schoolgirl days. Interestingly, Alford attended the same school as Jacqueline Kennedy. Remarkably, JFK never kissed her on the lips during their rendezvous, highlighting a perceived distance influenced by factors like age, power dynamics, and experience. According to Alford, this prevented the affair from evolving into a more serious relationship. Kennedy reportedly made her endure hours of waiting in hotel rooms until he called, a routine she dubbed the waiting game. To maintain the secrecy of their liaison, JFK cautioned Alford to steer clear of Vice President Lyndon Johnson, fearing potential political repercussions. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK brought Alford to the White House, allegedly stating, "I'd rather my children be red than dead." Alford's memoir further alleges that Kennedy introduced her to drugs, specifically amyl nitrate, poppers, at a party hosted by Bing Crosby. Supposedly, JFK dared Alford to perform oral sex on his friend Dave Powers at the White House pool, an uncomfortable challenge she reluctantly accepted while Kennedy silently observed. At a Democratic fundraiser, JFK reportedly suggested that Alford engage in a sexual encounter with his brother, Ted Kennedy, a proposition she firmly refused. Blaze Starr, the famed stripper. Blaze Starr spilled the beans in a 1989 interview with People magazine, revealing a short-lived affair with John F. Kennedy before he became president. In the interview, she expressed her desire to continue the relationship once he took office, but the Cuban Missile Crisis threw a wrench into her plans, disrupting a planned rendezvous with the president in the Lincoln Room. Their paths first crossed in 1954 when JFK, then a congressman, frequented Starr's strip club, Crossroads, situated in Maryland. Recalling the encounter in the 1989 interview, Starr described Kennedy as very quick and very wild, highlighting his proficiency in matters of the heart. She made it clear that his reported back issues didn't hinder their interactions, confidently stating, "No, that bad back didn't faze him." Marlene Dietrich. There's a tale circulating about John F. Kennedy having a brief romantic fling with none other than Marlene Dietrich, the renowned star of Witness for the Prosecution. As per ABCN News, citing journal entries by Kenneth Tynan published in The New Yorker, Dietrich supposedly received an invitation to the White House for drinks with JFK. According to Dietrich's account to Tynan, they allegedly found themselves in bed within an hour of meeting. JFK, in a humorous tone, supposedly quipped, "I hope you aren't in a hurry." Dietrich's clever response detailed her imminent commitment with 2,000 Jews waiting to present her with a plaque at 7 p.m., and it was already 6:30. Tynan's journal entries depict JFK as unfazed, responding with a casual, "That doesn't give us much time, does it?" Dietrich claimed the encounter wrapped up swiftly, noting that by 6:50 it was over, and JFK dozed off. She had to wake him to escort her back to her car so she could make it to the ceremony. In a surprising twist, JFK allegedly asked Dietrich if she had ever been romantically involved with his father, Joseph Kennedy, during the 1930s. His exact words were, "Just one thing. Did you ever make it with my father?" Dietrich denied it initially, but according to the biography, Kick the True Story of JFK's sister and the heir to Chatsworth, she later hinted that her denial might have been what JFK wanted to hear, suggesting that she might have indeed shared a bed with Joseph. Pamela Turneur, in Seymour Hersh's 1997 book, The Dark Side of Camelot, claims surfaced suggesting that John F. Kennedy had an extramarital affair with Pamela Turneur, beginning in 1958 during her time in his Senate office and continuing for an extended period. According to Hersh, in 1958, Florence Cater, Turneur's landlady, reportedly snapped a photo of the senator leaving Turneur's apartment building in the early hours of the night. Hersh alleges that Cater tried multiple times to publicize the photograph with the aim of damaging the senator's presidential campaign. Taking it a step further, the landlady and her husband allegedly rigged a tape recorder to capture audio of the couple's private moments and enlarged their picture of Kennedy as he left the building. However, the credibility of The Dark Side of Camelot faced immediate scrutiny upon its 1997 release. Ellen Romich. In the early 1960s, John F. Kennedy's extramarital escapades became the talk of the town. While his well-known relationship with Marilyn Monroe was making headlines, it was his risky encounters with paid escorts, particularly one named Ellen Romich, that added another layer to his colorful personal life. The Quorum Club, nestled above the Carroll Arms Hotel on Capitol Hill, emerged as the go-to spot for discreet rendezvous among legislators, political elites, and lobbyists seeking encounters away from prying eyes. Romech, a hostess at this establishment, garnered attention not just for her rumored resemblance to Elizabeth Taylor, but also for her reputed skills in intimate encounters. Beyond her role as a call girl, Romech, the wife of a West German army officer stationed at the German embassy in Washington, had a past that intrigued the FBI. Born in Kleinitz in 1936, part of East Germany, her prior involvement in the local Communist Youth Party raised eyebrows. After fleeing to West Germany in 1955, she arrived in the United States in 1961 with her second husband, taking on the role of a hostess. Romech's growing notoriety within influential circles caught the eye of President Kennedy, introduced to her by Bobby Baker, a known fixer and one of Kennedy's aides tasked with arranging liaisons. Kennedy, taken by Romech's looks and abilities, famously dubbed her the most exciting woman I have ever been with. However, Romech's liaisons were not exclusive, and Senator Gerald "Jerry" Ford was among her favored companions. A scandal erupted when J. Edgar Hoover, then FBI director, approached Bobby Kennedy, the Attorney General, expressing suspicions about Romech's potential role as an East German spy. Hoover highlighted her ties to Walter Ulbricht, the communist leader of the German Democratic Republic, GDR, and her involvement with very high-ranking officials. Acknowledging the potential implications, Bobby Kennedy discreetly allowed the FBI to pursue investigations. Before the investigation could wrap up, Bobby Kennedy opted for Romech's deportation to West Germany on a private plane. Accompanied by Laverne Duffy, a close associate of Kennedy, Romech's marriage to Rolfe came to an end, marked by a divorce based on grounds of adultery. Simultaneously, Duffy, engaged in an affair with her, persisted in exchanging love letters and making substantial payments to ensure her silence. While Romech's alleged espionage role remained unproven, her involvement in such activities, coupled with the speedy dissolution of her marriage upon return, raised suspicions. Her departure remained unaccounted for in public records, only surfacing after Duffy's demise that the Kennedys had continued to pay Romech significant sums in Deutsche Marks for her silence. Despite the financial incentives, she chose to keep her story hushed, opting to marry again and refrain from unveiling the intriguing details of her past. Gene Tierney. Gene Tierney's Hollywood career often sparked discussions about her love life, from rumored relationships with Kirk Douglas to her marriage with fashion designer Oleg Cassini. However, one romantic chapter remained hidden until decades later when Tierney unveiled it in her memoir, Self-Portrait, her affair with former U.S. President John F. Kennedy. Their connection blossomed after a chance meeting in 1946, a time when Tierney was navigating a divorce from Cassini. Kennedy, a young World War II veteran, visited the set of Tierney's film Dragonwyck. Despite a deepening bond during the year they spent together, Kennedy acknowledged the limitations of their relationship, given his aspirations to lead the United States. In a poignant moment over lunch in New York, Kennedy revealed, "You know, Gene, I can never marry you." This revelation marked the end of their romantic entanglement. Tierney, reflecting on the moment, recalled the silent exchange as they parted ways, with Kennedy catching a flight back to Washington. While their romantic connection came to a close, Tierney sent a congratulatory note to Kennedy upon his presidential victory in 1961. Looking back on their relationship, Tierney admitted that she should have known our situation was hopeless. She stressed that she had never discussed her connection with Kennedy with reporters until then, underscoring the personal and somewhat unspoken nature of their bond. Tierney, an Oscar-nominated actress in 1945, passed away in 1991 from emphysema, just 13 days before her 71st birthday. Priscilla Ware. It seems Jackie Kennedy was privy to her husband's rumored connection with Priscilla Ware, a staff member at the White House. According to Kennedy press aide Barbara Gamarekian, Jackie, conversing in French with a Paris Match reporter, pointed out, "This is the girl that's sleeping with my husband." Known as Fiddle, Ware, the White House secretary, earned this nickname amid discussions of her alleged involvement with JFK. Biographers like Larry Sabato and Seymour Hersh have widely circulated speculations about her relationship with the president. Jill Cowan, another secretary working alongside Ware in the White House press office, has chosen to remain silent on any relationship she may have had with JFK. However, she did acknowledge the president's admiration for his wife. According to Cowan, he was very proud of the fact Mrs. Kennedy had kept a book of all the place settings and pictures of the flowers, the whole sort of personal touches in the White House. Cowan, known as Faddle, and Ware, collectively referred to as Fiddle and Faddle, held the roles of press secretaries associated with JFK. Gunilla von Post, Swedish socialite Gunilla von Post, spilled the details of her 6-year romance with President John F. Kennedy in her memoir, Love, Jack, starting in 1953. Their paths first crossed when von Post was 21, both enjoying the charms of the French Riviera. Describing that fateful night, she reminisced, "He turned and kissed me tenderly, and my breath was taken away. The brightness of the moon and stars made his eyes appear bluer than the ocean beneath us." Despite Kennedy's upcoming wedding to Jackie in just 3 weeks, they stayed connected and met again 2 years later. Von Post claims that Kennedy contemplated divorcing Jackie to be with her, but was cautioned by his father about the potential political fallout such a scandal could cause. Angie Dickinson. Angie Dickinson's rendezvous with John F. Kennedy came courtesy of Frank Sinatra, the legendary crooner. Their paths crossed at a bash thrown by Kennedy's sister, Pat, in Santa Monica before the 1960 Democratic Convention, eventually prompting Dickinson to become part of the presidential campaign. According to Jed Mercurio's novel, American Adulterer, Dickinson allegedly voiced her dissatisfaction, claiming that Kennedy couldn't endure for very long in bed. Mary Pinchot Meyer. In the midst of President Kennedy's numerous romantic involvements, Mary Pinchot Meyer held a distinct place in his heart. Kennedy, famous for his claim of needing intimate relations every 3 days to stave off headaches, discovered a unique connection with Meyer, an artist, family friend, and a regular at White House events. Unlike Kennedy's other fleeting connections, Meyer brought an adventurous, opinionated, and sensual dimension to their enduring love affair, which lasted from January 1962 until Kennedy's tragic demise. On October 12, 1964, a mere 11 months after Kennedy's assassination, Mary Pinchot Meyer met a chilling fate while taking her noon walk along the towpath of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal in Washington's Georgetown neighborhood. A gunman executed her with shots to the head and heart. An African-American man was arrested, tried, and ultimately acquitted, leaving the mystery of Mary Meyer's murder unresolved. That very night, Mary's best friend urgently contacted Mary's sister Toni and Toni's husband, Ben Bradley, an esteemed editor at the Washington Post. The friend revealed a startling piece of information. Mary had a diary. She asked them to retrieve and secure it. The subsequent events are shrouded in mystery, with one intriguing version suggesting the Bradleys rushed to Mary's studio only to find James Angleton, the head of counterintelligence at the CIA, wielding a bolt cutter. Eventually, according to Ben Bradley, they uncovered a small notebook containing paint swatches, sketches, and art-related ideas, with no more than 10 pages detailing an affair with an unnamed lover. The Bradleys swiftly deduced the identity of this lover, leading Ben Bradley to later express, "To say we were stunned doesn't begin to describe our reactions." The cryptic diary entries shed light on the depth of Mary Meyer's connection with an unnamed figure, revealing a facet of Kennedy's private life that went beyond the public eye. In a decisive and truly suspicious act, Bradley eventually chose to burn the notebook, destroying all evidence of a love affair that... But JFK is not the only Kennedy rumored to have had an affair. Oh no, even Jackie is not free from speculation of that. A recent biography is shedding new light on the former First Lady's love life. In Jackie, Public-Private Secret by J. Randy Taraborelli, an alleged affair between Jackie Kennedy and architect Jack Warnecke is detailed, starting just months after JFK's assassination in November 1963. Interestingly, Warnecke was the man hired by Kennedy to design JFK's gravesite at Arlington National Cemetery, featuring the famous Eternal Flame. According to the book, Warnecke mustered the courage to ask Jackie out to dinner in May 1964, just 6 months after her husband's tragic death. Despite not receiving a clear affirmation, he showed up at her door with flowers, and, as Warnecke explained, that's when it started between us. Against the advice of friends and family who thought she was moving on too soon, Jackie brought Warnecke to the family compound in Hyannisport on Cape Cod in November 1964. Warnecke recalled that one thing led to another, and their relationship endured for 3 years. Warnecke even considered proposing during a trip to Hawaii in 1966, but financial problems halted his plans. He linked his debt, stemming from expanding his firm and maintaining their lavish lifestyle, to Jackie. Following this revelation, Jackie reportedly ceased taking his calls and informed her son, JFK Jr., that "We won't be seeing Mr. Jack again." They were together for 4 years, and they were really very important to each other, Tara Borelli shared with People when the book was released in June 2023. And she really did love him, and he really was crazy about her. In 1968, Jackie took a different path and married Greek shipping tycoon Aristotle Onassis, who sadly passed away in 1975. She later found companionship with diamond merchant Maurice Templesman. However, when faced with a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 1994, Jackie reconnected with a familiar figure for a poignant reason, Jack Warnecke. The occasion was special, involving the revisiting of letters from her loved ones, including those from Warnecke. As I took my seat, Jackie handed me a stack of envelopes neatly tied together with yarn. My presence that evening was part of a ritual. Every night that week, she was inviting a trusted friend or family member to her home to take part in it. Warnecke recalled in Jackie, public, private, secret. He continued, there were letters from Jackie's children, John and Caroline. There were also letters from Jack Kennedy, Aristotle Onassis, her father, Jack Bouvier, and even a few from me. She held one of the photographs and stared at it. It was her and Jack Kennedy on the day of his inauguration. "Keep this for me, will you?" she asked. This alleged romance adds another layer to the complex and often scandalous narrative of the Kennedy family. It also paints a picture of Jackie Kennedy as a woman who, despite facing immense personal tragedy, chose to live her life on her terms. While these revelations may surprise some, they serve as a reminder that the public personas of figures like the Kennedys often conceal a private reality far more complicated than we can imagine. After all, even icons have their secrets. That's all for the video, folks. Thanks for watching.